think we're doing another kata. I hope you're ready. I am. Hello and welcome to another Bringing the Thunder. I have with me an old familiar.
I'm back!
He's back! Wow! You're doing my enthusiasm. Hey, maybe you should wear this hat, eh, man?
Hey.
Wow, did you see that? Oh wow, I'm completely off my track now. But pretty much, you're back indeed. We're doing another low-code app.
A dashboard actually.
A dashboard, okay.
Dashboard.
So today's topic is dashboards for...
For connectors, basically. So
Okay.
we all know the visual overview, where we can create and assign a visual overview to a
Yes.
connector. Let's do the same thing, but now with a dashboard.
Okay.
Because a visual overview has its benefits, but a dashboard also has its benefits, right?
So is this a... Can I ask?
Hmm?
Is it a replacement for visual overviews? Or
It's not a replacement.
an enhancement?
Yeah, or an addition, or you could pick the one that suits you best.
Right.
Because there is definitely some overlap, but they both have their unique capabilities.
Right.
So visual overview, you can really draw anything that you want, any geometries, and make that very graphical.
Yes.
While dashboards is more with fees and controls and
Standard components, but you
Yeah.
can kind of plug and play, put them in
indeed,
one.
and also some more enhanced query capabilities. So with GQI, we can really extract anything. With
Right.
the visual, you need to do some tricks to sometimes achieve the same thing.
Yeah, but dashboards or low-code apps, you can do whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
Great. Okay, so you've prepared another kata, another exercise.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, let's dive right in.
Sure. Any prerequisites we should know of? Or,
Well, we will need the Visio application very
Okay.
briefly, but you can download a free trial of that on Microsoft.com.
Okay.
So we can use that one for this.
So we need the Visio to be able to make a dashboard.
Yeah.
I'm
show you,
I'm in. Show
All right.
show us.
First of all, let's create a dashboard which we want to use as our connector dashboard, basically. So
Right.
if you go to your DataMiner system, you have your dashboards application over there, and if you click that, it will open your dashboards application. On the left-hand side, we have our navigation. We have some folders in there. I've prepared a kata folder, and we can create a dashboard.
Right.
So I'm going to call this one elements details because we are going to show some details of an element.
Right.
And let's create that. And we're going to add 3 components to it. My emphasis for today is not on the content of that dashboard because you can really go wild with all of the capabilities. So
Okay.
I'm going to add some very simple ones to it. But note that you can really add anything to your dashboard and that
Right.
will work the same way, basically.
Okay, we haven't used dashboards a lot. It's mostly been low-code apps. But
Exactly.
Are there any differences that we need to take into account? Because I know it's kind of using the same editor,
Yes.
so the same abilities with layout are pretty much in there.
Indeed.
But we did come across one in the past, I remember, where we tried, I think, I don't remember now, I think adding a button or something.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Something
Indeed.
that was particular to a low-code app and not dashboard.
Exactly. So
Is there
basically, what I typically tell people is that with low-code apps, you can really go even to the next level with your navigation mostly. You have your
Right.
pages, you have your panels, and then you can trigger those actions from anywhere. If it's more bare bone or only a single page with dashboards, you can do the same thing, basically.
Okay, right.
The kata of today is also doable with a low-code app. We will do it with a dashboard because I want to keep it brief, but basically you can also create an app and
Right.
use that as your connector app, basically.
Okay, but we've got to
Same
do
thing.
a dashboard here. Okay,
Yeah,
great.
exactly.
So what's our first step?
So let's add some components just to have some data. So I'm going to add a state component. A state component is typically very good to display a single value. If you have a state component and we add an element to that, I'm going to create a Microsoft dashboard, by the way, Microsoft Platform Connector.
Right, so Microsoft
So-
platform. If you have an element, a Microsoft platform element, you can do this tutorial following along.
Exactly.
Perfect.
So you add your state. State is the visual, and then you add your data. The data in this case is our Microsoft element, basically. And you'll see that we will have some data popping up momentarily.
Okay.
Okay, there it is. And then you can style it a bit, make sure that it's selected. I'm not going to show the protocol because it's going to be used as a connector dashboard, so that will be a bit redundant. Let's go for a large design and then perhaps a line to illustrate the state of that,
Right.
or the severity rather of that.
So that's already showing you the element state, so
Yes,
the actual
exactly, and that's
critical
also
measure.
updating in real time. So if an
Ah,
alarm
okay.
would occur in that element, you will see that green line
doesn't
become-
require a refresh of the page.
No, that's all using WebSocket, so that's eventing. That's basically real time.
Cool.
And you'll have that.
Okay.
Okay, so let's add some more data. We also have a state timeline, which is basically going to show you the alarm state over time for a specific element. So
Oh, cool.
let's add this one over here, add the same data to it. So we go to our elements. I'm dragging the element on there directly,
Yeah.
and we see that we immediately have our state timeline. So we
Right.
see that we had a few
Warnings.
there over the past few hours. And lastly, I'm going to add a line chart to show you the CPU and memory usage of that.
Yeah, some of the main
Microsoft platform.
components
Exactly.
that you're doing with that monitoring connector. Yeah.
Indeed. So same thing again. I'm going to add a parameter, but this time let me add a protocol parameter. Protocol parameter means this is a parameter that is identified by the protocol, but we don't know for which element yet.
Okay.
Okay, so
Okay.
I can say for which protocol, a Microsoft platform.
So this pretty much is going to load up every parameter that it knows from that protocol, allowing you to drag that in there. And
Exactly.
then how do you select any element? That's with a drop down or something?
That's going to be with a feed. So we narrow down from all the elements of that connector, we are going to narrow it down to a single one. So let
Okay.
me show you that. So in our parameters, we have a total processor load. I'm going to add that, but it's not going to show us any data. Why? Well, we don't know for which element we need
Yes,
to.
it's going to be empty for now because
Indeed. And then I'm looking for the physical memory usage. So right now it's not showing anything, but we can give it an element context by dragging the element localhost main, drag that as a filter on there, and
Alright.
we will see our data popping up shortly. So this is our dashboard, but
Okay.
note that we have now connected it directly to a single element.
yes.
And that has its drawbacks, but I'll come to that
Okay.
in a few minutes. Now that we have a dashboard, let me embed that in Visio. So I'm going
Right.
to open a cube.
Yeah, because I was going to ask, but I think this is probably where you're getting at. I was going to ask, how do I now get that dashboard connected to my element
Yeah.
in our DataMiner Cube
Exactly.
client?
Exactly.
Because dashboards and local dApps, as far as I'm aware, has been part of the web-based
Indeed.
Cube and not Cube client.
Indeed.
So-
So this is the neat part with Visio, you know, the other framework.
Yes.
We can actually embed any web page directly in Visual Overview. And we'll do that with our dashboard. So we
Yes.
are going to leverage the Visual Overview to actually show our dashboard.
Yeah, so that's the only thing going to be in there, probably just the
Exactly.
dashboard.
Exactly.
Okay.
So we have our default Visual Overview, and we can right click and assign a new blank.
Mm-hmm.
Assigning a new blank will bring us this visual UI, and it comes with two shapes typically. One that is going to display the name of the elements, and
All right. Yeah.
then another shape that we can reuse. So let's remove the top one because we don't need this one,
Okay.
and let's change the configuration of our main shape.
Yeah, so you've got one main shape in your visual overview, in your visual, which is
Yeah.
generally what's shown on an element
Exactly.
in the DataMiner Cube.
Exactly. So let's add some shape data. Shape data configures what the shape should do and how it should look like.
Okay.
So we can right click and say define shape data, and we can say I want to link this.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and now we need to provide a link
To that page.
to the dashboard indeed, and I can add it in here. Hit save,
Okay.
and in Cube you will now see, once it updates, a gray area.
Wow. Exactly what I expected.
Exactly what we want. No.
I'm gonna guess there's some more to this trick.
Exactly. So what the Visual Overview did now was, hey, we created this shape for you. If you click me, I will navigate to this dashboard.
Right, but it's not an inline thing.
Exactly. So we want this to be
Inline.
in line. And there's a very simple way to achieve this. If you go to the Visual Overview, make sure that you have a hashtag in front of the hyperlink, basically.
Oh, okay, so just a small key character, a keyword there.
Indeed, make sure that the hashtag is in there. If we refresh, we'll see our dashboard
All right,
being embedded in the visual overview.
that's still gray.
Okay.
Ah, there it is.
There it is.
Okay.
Good, but now, yeah, I don't really care that this is a dashboard rather than a visual overview. I see all of this chrome, all of this green.
Yeah, we're gonna say I see the top stuff and all of that. Is that
Exactly.
something
we want to get rid of that. And of course, with the visual overview, we always have ways to manipulate how things are visualized.
Yes.
So our hyperlink can be appended with an option that says embed is true. And if we save that, you'll see that all of the Chrome for our dashboards application and the sidebar is actually
gone. Probably.
It's actually gone.
So then you'll just end up with your dashboard that you created, but then directly visible in the Cube client. Okay.
Okay. So there it is. We have our dashboard and our timeline. Okay.
Nice.
Now we see that we have some white space at the top and the bottom.
Yeah.
Let me also get rid of that because there are some layout and positioning mechanisms in the visual overview and we'll leverage that. So I'm going to add a new shape data.
So it's not just increasing the shape to the max, because that would be my first.
Yeah, we could do that, but the visual overview always respects the aspect ratio. So that means that, yeah, whatever we choose as a rectangle, we will always have white space in one way or another.
Okay.
But with the dock shape data, we can actually say, let's just dock it on all sides.
Right, and that will make it work on any resolution then.
Exactly. So if I go left, top.
Yeah, because resolution changes is always a difficult one when it comes to displays and UI. So
it's always good to make sure that your whatever you're building is responsive, right?
Yeah, and it works on, for example, a phone or a big screen, or
Exactly.
Bert his massive screen.
Yeah. So you see, all of the white space is now actually gone.
Okay.
Okay, so that was the first step. So we've created this connector dashboard.
Mm-hmm.
So I have my localhost main over here, and I also have my localhost backup. If I would open my localhost backup.
Yeah, but now it's going to probably show you the other element, because we hard-coded the element to the main.
Indeed. So this is the problem that we now need to fix. Right. We have our dashboard with some content, but it's pointed in a hard-coded manner towards our main elements, basically. So let's change that.
I'm gonna guess. Can I guess?
You can always guess.
Let me think. I think I would say Visio has a way, or the visual overview has a way to inject which element you click.
Yes, that's correct.
And you're probably going to use that.
Yes.
Add it to the link.
Yes. Keep on going. You're not there.
And then in the dashboard, you can probably use that as a feed or as an input.
Perfect.
Am I all right?
That's exactly how it is. So we will indeed.
You've been here too long. Yeah? I think I'm starting to realize.
You're starting to get it. That's good to see.
Starting to get it after, what, a year now? No.
So indeed, the visual overview is going to provide context to the dashboard, and the dashboard is going to pick up on that and actually use that as input for our dashboard.
Great. Okay.
Okay, so first step, I'm actually going to show you a link in the documentation that gives some more context on the whole thing.
Yeah, and how to do it.
Yeah. So if you go to docs.dataminer.services and you search for input dashboard.
Mm-hmm.
That URL in there. Specifying data input in a dashboard URL, and this is basically what we want.
Right.
And here you'll see that we have a full syntax available on how to actually pass along data
through the URL.
Basically. And we see that we have a version in there. We have feed, select, and components, and all of that. But basically, we are looking into feeding because we actually want to feed an element to our components on our dashboard.
Okay.
So let me grab this and perhaps go to an editor, Visual Studio Code. Let me select JSON as a language for my file and paste this in here. And let's remove all of the redundant properties that we don't need. So we actually only want to feed
something in there.
Something in there. So we are left with data and something that is optional. And if you look at the documentation, you'll see that data is a JSON object with one or more properties. And you see even in the example that one of the properties is elements, basically.
I see.
So we will make sure that we create this correctly. So the feed is a JSON object with a property elements, and the elements property has a value that is an array of strings. And now we need to have the DataMiner and element ID
right
there.
And that's probably something that exists as some kind of wildcard in Visual Overview.
Indeed. Let's first do it hard-coded.
Just to see that
to see that it works. You can actually have a look at the property of your element. If you right-click on your element and then go to properties, the ID is typically right there.
Yeah, so we can hard-code that. Test it out with.
So for a 3 and 1, so let's add this. And now we have the thing that we need to paste in the URL, basically.
Right.
Okay, so let me collapse this. And now we have something that we want to use. Now, of course, with the hyperlinks, you always need to be careful about special characters. So you can always use a URL encoder to
just to make sure
that there is nothing invalid in there. Basically.
Okay.
So this is the string, and let's go to our dashboard. Our dashboard now still has the element references, so let's get rid of those.
Yes, so those now need to somehow input whatever Visual sends us.
Exactly. So let's first remove these hard-coded references.
Okay.
And what we want to do right now is actually use, from the feed, we have a URL in there, and actually replace those with the elements dataset. So we add the URL elements over there, add it to the second component, and add a filter to the third one.
Well, and how does it know the available data there? Because
this will list every data type that is available within data.
Right, and elements
elements indicates that you can pass one or more elements along through the URL, basically.
Okay.
So here we now have a white dashboard, and that's because we haven't passed along any element yet through the URL. So let's stop editing and try this out. So
right, so if you add the thing in there,
data equals, and then you add that.
We
see that we have now passed along our elements through the URL, basically, to this dashboard.
So in Visio, we can then add this additional information.
Yes, exactly. So we're pretty close. Now in Visio, we need to do this, but need to replace the hard-coded element references with the context, basically.
Get the dynamic, whatever is currently open element.
Exactly.
Okay.
Okay, so let's go to the editing of our visual overview. And we basically are going to say, okay, data equals our JSON object.
And do you need to do that before the embed is true, or does that not matter?
It doesn't matter. The order of your query parameters doesn't really matter. Just make sure that your first one will need to have a question mark and your second one needs to have the ampersand.
Yes.
Okay. And we can actually use something, a shape data that is available in the visual overview to actually do the encoding for us. So in the visual, we can actually say, okay, the data is this, but let's make sure.
No.
Always a bit tricky.
Okay, so there's so there's a thing in there that allows you to encode it
yes, indeed.
directly.
Okay, let's go. Data equals, and now this is what we want to encode. So this is escape data string, if I recall correctly, and then make sure that we close our tag correctly. And if we save, we should see in our dashboard now that it's updating. Oh, not in Cube.
Yeah, from the Cube client.
Dates. Okay.
Maybe I have a look. I think maybe your brackets were not right in the
Make
Visio.
sure that I've saved it. Sometimes takes a while to update. Yeah, there it is.
Okay. So a question though, while we're waiting. So it kind of feels to me like this is quite, I mean, I'm maybe asking questions you'd rather not have, but I'm going to ask them anyway, because it feels a bit standard. Like what you're doing, the Visio itself, it feels like this is kind of everyone will do the same thing, right? Because everything in there seems very, you know, you're using the default wildcard to get the element information, you're using the encode, you're using that and this. Would it not make sense to have that directly in the Cube client then?
Yeah, indeed. We've played around with the idea to, rather than having a Visio file
that you need to make and then link, which is a great thing, but
indeed.
Well, the real question is, I'm asking, is this intended as a workaround until you get something else?
Yeah, I think so. More and more we hear voices about how can we have like native dashboards
in your element.
Exactly.
But this is already really great to get something now. So
indeed,
it's in there. You can do this. You can make a Visio. You can connect it. You can use then the full power of your dashboard editor to do it.
And this is available already for quite some while.
Right.
I think from 10.2.2 onwards you can use this, so everybody can already start with this.
And I mean, the more people that use this, the higher the priority will get to get it as a standard thing, probably.
Exactly.
So that's the way it works.
Indeed.
Use it, guys.
So now we still have that hard-coded element reference.
Right,
there.
we still need to change the reference.
So if I go to over here, basically, we still have 483/1. And there is yet another placeholder in Visio that we can use. That is this element ID,
right?
Which is basically going to replace that string that you saw previously with the ID of our current element. So this is providing some context to the dashboard.
Right. And at that point, any Microsoft platform element you create that uses that Visio will be able to show you the dashboard that you create with the correct information.
Indeed.
That's actually extremely powerful.
Okay,
That's
so let's
impressive.
have a look. The main element is showing the main data, and if you go to backup,
so then
there is the backup.
That's the backup. Great. Okay.
So that's basically it.
That's impressive. But pretty much you've shown us how we can use the original Visio module within DataMiner Cube
indeed,
to actually connect it with a dashboard that you create, which pretty much makes it so once you've created that Visio, you don't need to touch it anymore, and you can do all of your work with the dashboard.
Exactly. And leverage the full power of dashboards if you now create queries or grids or node edges.
Yeah, that's actually very impressive.
Whatever you want, that is all in there.
That's amazing, yeah.
And it also shows you how you can embed web pages in Cube. Know that this was now for dashboards, but you can do the same thing for apps as well.
Yeah, with anything you can think of.
Exactly.
Great. So they should probably take a screenshot of something.
Yeah.
What do you think we should let them? I guess maybe
I think this one suffices, right?
Yes, the element that is open showing you the dashboard.
Yep, sounds good.
Okay, well, you heard it here. If you take a screenshot of that and send it in, we'll give you some DevOps points for that. That was actually a very powerful feature to see. I hope everyone enjoyed it as much as I did. Sebastian, once again, I'll shake your hand.
My pleasure.
Thank you for making some time and preparing this and showing it to us. As always, you're always welcome.
Thank you.
I know we joke around, but always welcome, my friend.
Lovely to hear.
Yes, to everyone watching, I'll catch you on the next one, and good luck.